I'm David T. Little, composer of Dog Days, and we're going to talk about Mirror, Mirror, which is Lisa's big Act 2 aria from Dog Days, performed by the miraculous Lauren Worsham and the ensemble Newspeak, conducted by Alan Pierson, looking at the world premiere production by Beth Morrison Projects, directed by Robert Woodruff, libretto by Royce Vavrek. So we see Lisa in her bedroom. She has, at this point in the opera, people are basically starving. So she has lost a lot of weight, as has the whole family. This aria, Mirror, Mirror, actually came just from a single reference in the Judy Budnitz story, where she says, oh, and I saw myself in the mirror and I thought, oh, I look just like a model because I'm so skinny. And we thought, well, that's a whole scene right there. The aria itself is in two parts. We kind of thought of it as a mirror in the Alice in Wonderland sense, where there's this other world on the other side of the mirror. And at the end, she says, what if I'm only beautiful on the other side? It's her last line in the aria. The first part is ecstatic, manic days that she's in because she's starving, looking at herself in the mirror and saying, oh, really singing about her body, singing about how thin, cheekbones like boulders jutting out of a white sand beach is one of the beautiful lyrics that Royce came up with, and ribs like corrugated cardboard, the kind that Dad has piled up waiting to be burned in the dead of winter when there's nothing left but our shivers. It's great lyrics. So this kind of upbeat, kind of peppy music singing about how she's finally thin enough to be a model is of course completely grotesque because she looks that way because she's starving. So we wanted that to be a comment on the sort of beauty industry. She has a line, pain is beauty, they say, hunger is beauty, I say. Hunger builds beauty, hunger made me.
Hunger is beauty, I say. Hunger builds beauty.
And then the music turns, but my hair has lost its color, its shine. And she starts singing about how, my freckles are fading, and I'm physically deteriorating because of this starvation. So it plays with these sort of dualities. But the second half, she becomes more like her mother. She starts singing really for one of the first times these long lyric lines, and she's singing about her friend Marjorie, who left when everything went bad, and she knows she'll never see again. And so she's recounting the good times with Marjorie, but with a sad undertone. At this point in the opera, Lisa is basically completely alone, except for her friendship with Prince, the dog man. And musically, it's this moment I really like because everything just kind of melts, everything kind of slides downward into this other section pretty unexpectedly. And her first word is Marjorie. The end of Act 1, Lisa writes a letter to Marjorie. It's a silent aria where she hums while writing a letter, and the text is projected on the stage. Where she ends by saying, you'll probably never read this letter. She sort of tells her all about Prince, and says, you'll never see this letter because I know you're gone, maybe you're dead, we don't know. She does this from underneath the table. That's sort of her space. That's the place where she can be alone late at night, is under the sort of dining room table, which is the place where the family prays and fights and everything. So as this second part begins and this music melts into the more adult music, she goes back under the table and sings much of the rest of the aria from underneath the table. And the aria is really about her friend Marjorie and how she misses her and the beautiful things that they experience, the life that was before this horrible time. Being under the table like this, it's kind of a filmic gesture in a way. It's not, opera is sort of goes outward, right? You have to, perform outward. But this is all so private. And I think brilliance of the staging with Jim Findlay's design and Robert Woodruff's direction is that Jim made this mirror that Lisa sings into, which has a camera rigged up behind it. So we see her face the whole time projected on this huge screen above the stage.
I miss our grass blade duet.
And I kind of feel like there is nothing that communicates like a person's face, you know? And to see her in such a vulnerable place and singing of this time that is gone, that we know is gone. And sensing the bad things that are coming, you know, it's a pretty magical moment. And Lauren's performance is just like unreal. One of the kind of crazy things about the mirror apparatus, you can't look away for cues because we are looking into her eyes as the audience. So she can't look away from the camera. So she can't follow the conductor at all. She cannot get a single cue, and that she can do that while delivering this like heartbreaking performance is just, it still boggles my mind. It's one of these things where as composers and librettists, we write these things that we imagine could be really great. We think this is a great approach to this scene, you know, for all kinds of reasons. And then we get a performer that just takes it, you know, 20 levels higher. Makes me really happy.
Hello.